He was an All Black 1972 and 1973. Played 7 matches. And for Otago, 137 matches. Hooker, Tom Willis. All Black 2001, 2002. Right. Tight head prop, Carl Hayman. 46 matches for the All Blacks and 68 for Otago. And the first of the locks, a bloke that I knew well, being my vintage at Kings, John Levido. At lock, head boy at Kings 1 year ahead of me, Colin Mantell. Blindside flanker, none other than Paul Miller, All Black 2001, 20 matches for Otago. And he was one of the first boarders in our boarding hostel that we set up in the Donaghy's office block at the time. And a great favourite, really, of both Glenda and me, open side flanker, Kupu Vanisi. Yes. Number 8 goes right back to my day at Kings. 1 year behind me, Hugh Morrison. He went on to play for the South Island. 63 matches for Otago. Halfback sort of.
Yes, yeah.
There was a bloke Laidlaw went to Kings. Too shabby. No, he wasn't too bad. 57 All Black games, 47 for Otago. And first 5, I also take a lot of pleasure in seeing this one because, oh no, I won't tell you the whole story about Tony Brown in the hostel. Tony Brown, first 5, 19 matches for the All Blacks and 80 matches for Otago.
It's not a bad story, you should tell it now you've started. Go on. About Tony, tell them because you really like it.
Come on, Ian.
I know there's a story there, but I just can't really.
He had been at Kaitangata rugby team.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, he'd lived at Kaitangata, and the talent of the boy, at about 15, he was playing for the Kaitangata senior men's rugby, and I believe their cricket teams as well, pretty good cricketer. I had to explain to him when he arrived at the hostel that going to the pub after a game was not really appropriate now that he was attending school in Dunedin. He certainly had no difficulties with that when he was in Kaitangata. Second 5, and I played alongside him at Kings, was Selwyn Ingalls. He played 40 matches for Otago. Another one from my vintage, Ian Spooky Smith at centre, 24 matches for the All Blacks, 37 for Otago. Left wing, now this goes back to certainly when I was a boy. I used to be one of his hero worshippers. Ray Bell. Ray Bell played 9 matches for the All Blacks and 29 for Otago. And then right wing, one of my all-time favourite boys, Ben Smith. 85 matches for the All Blacks and 44 for Otago,
Hundreds for the home.
and hundreds for the Highlanders. And I just mention this because it means a lot to an old fellow, but when you get a phone call from Ben in the middle of all those honours saying would I like to join them at a function he was having, really just meant such a lot, and said a lot about the sort of bloke Ben Smith really is. And incidentally, he wasn't the only one to have done that. Brendan McCullum is one top guy. And he ran home, this was sort of years ago, Teston Dunedin, and said to Glenda and I to just call in at the office when we got down to the ground. There'd be special seating for us at the Oval. And I mean, those are small gestures in a way, but they mean so much at the time, you know, and I just got blown away. So I won't hear a bad word spoken about Brendan McCullum. He's in the news a bit, but yeah, I'll back for him any day.
Yep.
And fullback, a bloke called Laurie Mains. All Black 1971 to 1976, 15 matches and 114 for Otago. So not bad for a boy there at the bottom of Rislaw Road. Rye Hill Street, that's right. That's right. That's right. I used to slide down that paddock opposite your place on an old sledge. We'd pour water down first, the steep paddock, and it led all the way down to Lady Sidey's. Lady Sidey's, policeman. Lady Sidey's was an adventure waiting to happen.
Was.
And, yeah, and particularly, you know, when you read those boys' stories about evil groundsmen, Lady Sidey had a beaut. He was, well, yeah, I can't really describe him other than to say we were sort of scared stiff of him. My mate Neville Madigan lived right across the road from the gates of Lady Sidey's, and he in fact was sort of like the Robin Hood of Lady Sidey's at the time. I'll finish up by saying just the one most embarrassing thing that my mother ever experienced. She was running the Caversham Presbyterian Church flower show, and as a small child she used to encourage me to make little miniature gardens and things and sort of thing. Well, I got beyond that at about 12 and decided I would enter the rhododendron section. We didn't have any rhododendrons at home, but I knew where there was some buttes. Now, all was going swimmingly well, and I'd gained first place for one. My mother had the job as convener of the flower show to show that year's judge around And you guessed it, Lady Sidey herself. Well, she certainly knew her stuff because I got first and Neville got second. Right. Sorry, the reserves. I get distracted.
You're fine, you're doing fine.
Okay. In the forwards, Ian Stevens, who played 43 matches for Otago. Joe McDonnell, who was an All Black in 2002. And my late great mate, former head boy of the school, Lindsay Hocking, emergency loose forward. Steve Brockleback, who is here tonight, 10 matches for Otago. Sorry you could only make the reserves, Steve. And the backs, oh wait, wonderful. Brett McCormick, who, yeah, speak. Those of you who know rugby know what Brett has achieved playing for Otago, tremendous player. And we mentioned him earlier, Clive Geary, 1947 for New Zealand Universities and one match for Otago in 1950. Bill Somerville, Otago, 17 matches, and a great fullback who, as I recall, Laurie, you used to have great competition with him to get into that Otago team. Evan Taylor. We were so lucky in those days to have two blokes who really were All Blacks, and here they were in the same province. 40 matches for Otago back 1965 to 72. Coach, Ian Willis, and assistant coach, Gramps O'Connor.
Good team.
Right. Very good.